Get your free copy of the complete tutorial at www.teachucomp.com/free.
It is important that you understand some basic terms and concepts involved in creating and using tables and databases if you wish to create more complex types of reports using Crystal Reports. Obviously, the deeper your knowledge of relational database design and structure is, the easier it will be to understand Crystal Reports and its place in the information storage and retrieval process. However, it's not required that you be a whiz with manipulating data tables to create basic reports. The fundamental data storage object is the table. You store all of the data you wish to collect about a certain subject, such as employees, in one of the base tables in your database. A database is a storage container that typically contains multiple tables. For example, here we're currently looking at Microsoft Access, a very popular desktop database. Here inside of our database, which we have called Sample, we have an employees table and an orders table. Now, tables have a structure in which they hold their data. Tables consist of columns and rows of information. The columns all hold a certain type of data, like an employee ID or a last name, and they are all called fields. The fields in the table represent all of the different types of information that you wish to collect about the subject of the table. So for example, if you did have an employee table, you would probably have fields for things like first name and last name, the position, the hire date, and other types of related data that you wish to collect about the employees. When you enter the field information for a single item into a table, you place all of the data for the item into a single row, and that is called a record. For example, if you had an employee for whom you wish to make an entry into the employee table, you would simply enter all of the data for each field or column into the next available row in order to create the employee's record. Many times, the data that you actually wish to display within a single report is stored in many tables. In a relational database, you have many tables of information which are related to each other through information stored in common or shared fields. In order to do that, each table must have a field that contains unique values for each record, like an employee ID number, for example, or a social security number field. That is called the primary key in the selected table. So for example, here in this employees table, you can see each employee has their own unique identification number. Then in the table to which you wish to relate, in this case the employees, you must have another field that contains the same information. However, in the related table, the data stored in the column is not unique. And this is often called the foreign key field. For example, if we had an orders table, we would have fields for things like the order ID, the order date, and also the employee ID. This relates the order to the employee that placed the order. Notice that while employee ID was unique in the employees table, it is not unique in the employee ID over in the orders table. The unique identifier in orders is the order ID. We then associate the common fields between the tables, and these links are used when we create our reports in Crystal Reports so that the records are related by the common field which they share, which in this case is the same employee ID.
Like what you see? Pick up your free copy of the complete tutorial at www.teachucomp.com/free.